You're good.
Good. Good evening. This is Karen Hudes calling you from my rehab center. I was released from the hospital on my birthday, which is about a week ago. So I wanted to tell you the title of this. What is it? It's not really a segment on DCTV. It's an episode. Well, anyway, the title is "What Doesn't Kill You Makes You Stronger," and I wanted to let you know that I'm bouncing back from an attempt to poison me. I was given a very high dose of arsenic. Who gave me the arsenic? I don't know, but my doctor, Charles Gant, measured the level of arsenic in my blood twice because he couldn't believe it. And yeah, if anything, the second test that he did, the level of arsenic had gotten up even higher. So I don't want to bore you all with my medical condition, but I'll just give you a brief overview. My heart rate is normal. I had my kidneys slowed down, and that's why Dr. Gant wanted me admitted to a hospital, and he wanted me under the care of a very good nephrologist. But yeah, I'm fine. And they did a lot of tests in the hospital where I was, and they could see that I had had a couple of what they called strokes. Well, folks, those were not strokes. But in any event, the amount of damage that I sustained was very, very small. But it did affect my speech. And so there were two segments on DCTV that I recorded. And when I listened back to them, I realized that this was not going to further anything. It was going to throw people off balance because I sounded like I was incapacitated. And now you can hear that whatever was going on with that arsenic has not really affected me very much. I bounced back. And that's why when I was at the World Bank, my nickname was Teflon Hudes because I do bounce back. I'm basically strong. And even though my heart rate had gotten very slow, my level of oxygen remains very high. So I'm with you all until I'm no longer with you. And in the meantime, as I said, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So let me tell you a little bit about what happened with the segments on DCTV. What I wrote was perfectly fine in the teleprompter, but when I had to deliver it, somehow one of my contact lenses turned inside out, so I couldn't read the teleprompter. I sounded like a bumbling fool. And one of the things that I've learned, and I've told you all along, is that you have to be surrounded by people who know what's going on with you. And this protects you from mind control because people around you can tell you when you're not yourself. And as an example of that, I couldn't hear until I was given a video of the two segments that I recorded. But at the time, I had no idea that I sounded like a bumbling fool. Some of you people had written in, the critical mass had written in to tell me that they were concerned whether I had lost my marbles because I sounded really bad. But other than that feedback, when I saw the DVDs, I realized I didn't want to upload those because the presentation was not good. It was, as I said, I sounded like an old lady, but you can hear now that my voice is a little bit different, but it's not that much different. I'm back. I bounced back. And who put my contact lens on inside out? I'll never know. There are all kinds of mysteries. Who gave me arsenic? I don't know. But whatever it was, and a kidney failure at the same time, so the arsenic wasn't being filtered out of my body. Well, it is being filtered out, and I'm getting stronger. And you can hear I'm going to be back to normal in no time. So that's one of the things I wanted to talk to you about. But the main thing I wanted to talk to you about is just how important it is to be surrounded by people, and not just anybody, but a person who's in the critical mass who can actually hear you, and somebody who knows you very well. So they're going to let you know, they're going to give you feedback into things that are true of you, but you wouldn't have noticed it yourself. And that goes for mind control, because when you're attacked by mind control, you don't realize it. You don't realize that you're not acting the way you usually do. And so when you talk to somebody who's close to you in the critical mass, who's listening to you, they'll let you know when you're being affected by mind control. And then the people that are using the supercomputers in the mind control, they're going to not you're not a good target anymore, because you can pick up on, you can learn when you're being affected by mind control. Now, I'm under attack all the time. But the fact is, I'm working my way loose, and the way I'm working my way loose is because I'm surrounded by the critical mass who tell me when I'm off, and I can correct it. So that's where I come in stronger. I'm being rehabilitated by your feedback. And that's one of the other things I wanted to talk to you about. Actually, I'm changing the subject. Let me go back to what I was saying about being surrounded by members of the critical mass who are going to protect you. This is something that's very important, because you're going to be the backbone of our recovery, because you're going to find other people, and the word is going to spread. And then what happens is we're much stronger than the cabal, because we're growing every day. I can tell you that I'm surrounded by the critical mass, and that's why I'm getting stronger and not weaker, because they're telling me when I'm subject to mind control, and I'm using that feedback. So we're all in this together, and we're only going to move as fast as we become loose ourselves. This is not just a movement of 2 or 3 people to work their way loose from the military weapons. This is everybody. Everybody is battling those weapons because they're trained on everybody. The point is, though, that they're not going to pick on anybody who has found somebody, and it should be more than one person, who has found somebody in the critical mass. And that person is going to give them the feedback they need. And those military weapons, you're just going to learn what you need to know from the feedback that your friends or whoever it is, your relatives, but somebody close to you, you're only going to learn, and that's going to make you stronger. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk to you about, there are actually 2 things. The other thing is Jose Rizal, and the fact that when he put the world's wealth into trust at the World Bank, he and Ferdinand Marcos, who were working together, he called that act of putting the world's wealth into the World Bank the proclamation and declaration of the gift of love. We are all connected to each other, and the strongest thing that's gluing us together is love. And I'm somebody who, I'm very empathetic, and I'm very guided, I'm very sensitive to when I receive love, and so you're all in my prayers, but it works the other way too. I'm being protected by the critical mass, and we're all working together, we're all in this together, and that's the second thing I wanted to talk to you about. how the critical mass is developing. And gratitude, that's very important for all of us to work together. Because when you have gratitude, that uh, that acknowledgement of the support that you're receiving is it spreads like wildfire. So we're going to spread the numbers of people in the critical mass um, like wildfire, and that's one of the other things that I've mentioned a few times is the domino effect. Uh, we're all lined up to liberate ourselves, and the dominoes keep falling. So when you ask me, when are we going to beat the cabal? The answer is it's going to take whatever time it takes, but the freeing ourselves of mind control and those military weapons is like dominoes falling. So we shouldn't be nervous about what our end result is going to be. The chances that we achieve this goal of liberating ourselves and making ourselves understand who we really are, this is going to happen ultimately. Now, I'm being helped by all of you who are in the critical mass, and those of us, as our numbers increase, we're going to be stronger um, than all of the interference. We're going to be able to roll back um, the fact that we can't really understand what's going on because 80% of us are being hypnotized by this mind control, but we'll understand just how loving we are as human beings. When you look at the mass media, all they tell you is about violence and things that are going to make you um, hate somebody else. They're going to divide us from each other, and as we demonstrate that we're actually loving, um, that's going to disappear. And the other thing I wanted to talk to you about, so it's actually more than three things, is controlled opposition. That's what the cabal is using to try to maintain its force. Because as the number of people in the critical mass increase, this this accelerates the change. And so when you find controlled opposition, that's something that all the governments have used. What it does is it takes the people who are on the edge of understanding what's going on, and it diverts them with a message that holds them back ultimately. And so as we go forward, and I'm hoping to be back on the air next week. That's what date is that?
It should
I'm
be
looking for a calendar.
like maybe the 6th or.
Okay, so I'm going to try to be back live on DCTV on the 6th. But if it takes me a little bit longer, you'll know that I'm going to be on the following week. And in the interim, what I'm going to let DCTV do, if we can get the logistics down, is I'm going to let you see snippets of what I've recorded already, and which shows you how I was really affected by that. You'll see the difference between where I am now and where I was right after all the arsenic. I've been rehabilitated to a large extent, and I think understanding and seeing how these people are helping me, all of them, reinforces my faith in how we're going to break through. You understand that we are all in this together, and uh, we're all growing in understanding. And the way that the cabal is trying to lead us off track is through military weaponry. And once you know how to fight that weaponry by surrounding yourself with other members of the critical mass, when you find these two or three people, you can work with other people, but when you find them, you're going to find that if you want 3 people, you're going to have to talk to 30 because 80% of them they're not going to hear you because they're hypnotized by the military weaponry. But the number of people that see what's going on, they've outnumbered and they're stronger, and so the change is inevitable. Okay, so I don't want to drone on and on. Again, I'm going to see if we can get the teleprompters for those 2 segments that I recorded. If we can get those teleprompters so that you can see what I was trying to say. But the delivery stank, and I'm not going to put them on. Maybe I'll just show pieces of them so you can see how I've been bouncing back. And again, we're all in this together, and the gratitude, that's going to help. That's going to help us. That's going to make us understand that we're all in this together, and that understanding, that confidence that we have, that's going to accelerate our victory, which is all but certain. Okay, so that's really all I have to say, and I'm going to wish you a Merry Christmas, but understand that that's something that the controlled opposition is saying because they want us to fight each other over religion, and we're not going there. We're going to get rid of the corruption in our money first, and then we can talk about our spirituality and things that are dividing us. Okay, so I'm signing off, and Merry Christmas.
Great. That's great.